Wow. Look at this. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast, Bachelorette Season 20, Episode 3 and 4 recap. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
It's been a while, man.
It has. I've missed you. Don't get the big head, but I've missed you.
Well, I'm
But
glad you said it first.
missed,
I actually wasn't going. I was about to say it, but that's why I let you say it first.
well, more importantly, I missed the people that jump into the chat because we had roughly a week off because of Jerk Fest, which was super successful event.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it's just been it's almost been, I'll be honest, it's been nice to have my nights to myself. But the problem was I had to watch 4 hours of The Bachelorette to get caught up.
Well, here's the good news. This is going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, last double episode for foreseeable future, right? Because even I've got a wedding I've got to go to, but it's going to fall in the travel time is going to be in a good enough time to allow me to be able to still watch it, do this, and so we'll still be able to be back. So yeah, it's been felt a little weird to not do a review and not get up on here and let's have these conversations.
Yeah, it's been weird, but I'll be honest, selfishly, it was nice. But I'm glad that we're about to get back on the regular cadence and get back to a little bit of normalcy. But I would be lying to myself if I didn't say the last 2 Mondays that I didn't have to actually watch and record live. It's been great.
Hey, Donna, we're glad to be back too. Glad to have you guys back and, ready for all this foolishness and all the shenanigans. And so let's get to it because we've got 2 episodes to cover and just a little bit of time to get through all of it. We pick up with episode 3, right? So for those of you who were keeping up and watching it when it actually aired, that was last week's show when there were 14 guys left and Charity comes in to sit with the guys. And here's the thing, I will say, this is what happens when you take a week off. You almost forget what happened in episode 2. She came in and had to apologize for leaving that barbecue early. And she still says she thinks her husband is in that house.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why they're making such a big deal out about the barbecue. I didn't see there to be big drama. Out of all the reality shows that we've recapped, we've seen way worse.
Yes.
So I'm like, I don't understand why y'all are making it that big a deal. But, she comes back and the guys are all ready and our favorite gets his one-on-one date.
Yeah, Brayden gets, Charity gives it a surprise that they're going to the beach. And the bus is going to pick you guys up in 30 minutes. And Brayden, come on with me because you get to go fly in a helicopter. And then they fly the helicopter right over the mansion so everybody can see them. That's jacked up. And the producers are like, hey, look up. You see that helicopter? That could have been you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's Charity and Brayden up there. Check that out. I still think it's a boss move how Charity drives.
Yes.
She got back in that convertible. Brayden opened the door for her to get in the driver's seat.
Okay, you saw that too.
Yep. I saw that. I was like, you go, Charity.
But is he the only one that opened the door for her?
Well, no. So when her and Aaron went on the date, the first time the convertible came out, Aaron opened the passenger side door thinking Charity was going to get in the passenger seat. She says, no, I'm driving. You get in.
Okay, but that means he didn't open the door for her. That was his intention, but that wasn't her door. He just didn't know that.
But she told him, she gave him a command. No, I'm driving. You get in.
You get your punk ass in this car.
Yeah. She put her Dom hat on and was like, I'm in charge.
Well, here's the thing I like about this date, right? Then the helicopter, Brayden's super excited. He's like, oh, this is my hometown. This is where I live. This is this. What'd be cool? What if we landed in Petco Park? And they went, guess what we're going to do? And lands on cue in Petco Park, which was really cool, even though I didn't like the fact that the jerseys, they took back her power. It should have been Mr. Charity and Miss Charity, right?
Well, I thought it was a dope date. And did you notice how chatty Brayden was? Like, that dude wouldn't stop talking. And what did he say? Holy shiitake mushrooms. I was like, did this dude just say that?
Were you surprised?
I'm not surprised, but it's kind of like, okay, you think of a stereotypical thing you think a white dude would say.
Mm-hmm.
That was it right there. I'm like, holy shiitake mushrooms. But I think Charity, she's doing this date to see if he's truly into her. So she's trying to feel him out. And then she get busted in the eye with a ball when they're playing catch.
He tells her the story and then immediately throws the ball in her eye.
Hey, Charity, think fast.
He literally tells her the story of his dad doing that to him, hitting him in the nose, and he hits her in the eye. But she took it all in stride. I mean, because she's only but so big, so I'm surprised she actually stayed on her feet. So that was good. It must not have thrown it very hard, right?
I thought he was gonna be like, Coach, come on, walk it off, Charity, walk it off. Put some dirt on it. You'll be all right.
The one thing I didn't like though is that he was telling her the things that he was telling everybody else, right? He's not sure if the process is going to be too much for him. He's at least he's honest with her in the space. They had the conversation at the barbecue where she pulled him to the side after snitches get stitches went ahead and told on him. But here it is. They're having this great date, and then of course it comes up again. So he has to address it, and he does. The thing I didn't realize that when you go on a one-on-one date, and I think I forgot about this. I mean, I really tried to forget the whole franchise after we watched the Matt James The Bachelor season. So I completely forgot that when you go on a one-on-one date, there's a chance that you're not coming back. Like, you can be eliminated on a one-on-one date.
Right.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, very true. And I knew Brayden wasn't going to get eliminated because Brayden makes for good TV.
He does.
We are, no one is rooting for him.
No.
But he makes for good TV. But I think my issue with Brayden is that you shouldn't be on a show like this if you can't handle her going out on other dates, especially if your trigger is that you've been cheated on, and to sit and watch her kiss other dudes or hear about other dudes. This is not the show for you. You shouldn't even be a part of this.
Here's the question, though, because this is what I thought when he was saying all that, especially when he brought the whole cheating thing up. I'm like, is he playing the sympathy game? He's trying to, play the victim role and seeking her sympathy. And it looked like she fell for it. Or did I read that wrong?
I think you read it right. And my thought is this.
Say that again, please. Say that again. I want to hear that again.
My thought is this.
See, some things never change. Continue, please. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
My thought is this. And I think this is my words of At Just Her Wisdom for the single ladies. If you come across a guy and he's talking about his biggest issues, he's been cheated on and all that kind of stuff, red flag. Not the fact that he's been cheated on, because that's happened to a lot of us. But if he's coming at you with that feel sorry for me and pity me because I've been cheated on, that's a little level of crazy that you got to be careful of. It's a red flag. I'm not saying don't date a guy who tells you that he was cheated on in his last relationship. Right. But the way that Brayden talks about it,
yes,
that dude is way too sensitive. That's the kind of guy that's going to be possessive. Or you're going to your friend's house? Who all's there? I don't know, Chuck. Who's this Chuck guy? Are you sleeping with Chuck? My ex used to sleep with a guy named Chuck and cheated on me behind my back. Like, that dude is a little bit crazy. So I think Brayden has some issues. He should lay on the couch and talk to somebody about it.
Well, he definitely should. People were trying to lay down on that bus ride to the beach, and the other guys, and while they were all uncomfortable, especially wrestling Bob, you had Xavier out there knitting his crying towel. I got to spend 3 hours on this damn bus. Let me knit something.
Hey, Xavier, he likes to knit. We said that about him. And I'm like, okay, good for you. But that's what he does when he's kind of in his needs some me time.
Hey,
he's gonna
there's no shame in his game. This is what I do. Break out them knitting needles and do it. On a bus full of guys, there are a lot of people who would be afraid to do that. No shame in this man. He just pulls them out and gets
okay, I'll be honest. And I have no issue with the fact that Xavier likes to knit. I think it's awesome. I think it's dope. But I will be honest and say, if I'm on a bus and I see a big brother like Xavier break out some knit needles, I'm pressing the stop. I'm getting off right here. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm getting off.
Especially if you keep calling him Xavier, because he likes to be called Xavier.
Another reason I got to get off.
And he's got 2 weapons. Those
I gotta go. If I see a big dude just knitting in the back seat of a bus, yeah, I need to get off right here. I'll get an Uber.
Oh my God! So they had the group date, right? And they decided, of course, because the Barbie movie's coming out, so you've got to promote it, cross promote. They paid for that money. They paid that money to get that advertising, and this is what they do. So they had JoJo and Jordan. Have no idea who this successful Bachelorette couple is, because it's the first Bachelorette I've ever watched in my life. But they're there to help with this. The guys are tasked with dressing up as Ken and writing a song for charity.
Yeah, and of course they couldn't get Ryan Gosling or Margot Robbie, so they had to get the B movie Marvel guy to come out and say,
"Oh my God, that guy!"
Yeah. I was like, "Who are you? You look like somebody." They could be like Barbie herself, but I have no idea who JoJo and Jordan are. But great for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the concept of the date. Here's where I think that Charity is going to get some smoke from Black women about this whole Barbie date deal, because I was just like, I couldn't deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's such thing as a Black Barbie, but I just couldn't see myself pulling this off. I couldn't really get into the character to win over with the song,
Right.
dressed up as a Black Ken, because I've not seen it, but again, I don't keep up in the Barbie universe, so I'm not knowledgeable. But I'm looking at these dudes come out with the blonde wigs and all this other stuff. I was just like,
The last Black Ken we knew was Ken Do, and he did Mary J. wrong. So Black women are not feeling the Black Ken right now.
So if I go through just a few people that I highlighted. So Sean thinks he's the perfect Ken, and I think out of all of them, Sean understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Dothan looked more like Andre 3000 than he did
Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Andre 3000. He looked at Andre 3.
So I couldn't quite see that, and then what was it? Adrian, John in the birthday suit. Someone said John looked like a sperm, and I can't see it.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
Birthday suit Ken, yeah. A country Ken tried to show he had pipes. I mean, he sounded better than most of the others, but it's not like he was really a great singer. But
yeah. So all of them were funny. Now, here's the funny thing: is Caleb, surprise, surprise, not that bad of a singer. I wouldn't buy his album, but I thought that from a singing standpoint, I thought he did a really good job. But to me, the one that stole the show was Sean, because Sean understood the assignment.
He did. He went in, got the kiss. Everybody else is, and they're all going, why didn't I think of that? And because of that, he got the extra time on the pier with Charity, right? Here's the thing, though. Before we even get to them kissing in the sunset and all this wonderful stuff, you know who I felt really sorry for? Not the other guys watching Sean kiss Charity, right? Because y'all had your chance. You let him go up there last and steal the kiss when you all could have tongued her down and made him second guess kissing her, right? But you didn't do it. So why are you mad? But who I felt bad for was all those extras that had to stand there, listen to that horrible music, horrible singing, all of the same damn song over and over again, and play like you're excited. That had to be painful. It was painful for the 3 minutes we had to watch it. They had to do it for at least 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, they knew what they were there to do. So they were fine. They were fine. They had total fun with that. But you know who annoyed me? You got Aaron was just salty. And Aaron, the firefighter Aaron. Aaron says,
Aaron S.
Well, I'm a real man that can camp, fish, and hunt. And as he said that, I'm just like, well, I guess I'm not a real man because I can't do any of those things.
Hey, I don't camp. I don't fish,
I guess
and
I'm not a real man. I don't camp, fish.
I used to hunt, but it wasn't animals.
Some of them were. A couple of them were. After a few whiskeys, you did You did catch some trolls in your traps. From what I remember, long time ago, way before you met your wonderful wife. I'm saying this is decades ago.
In a whole nother lifetime. But why are they so mad though? I mean, it's like he's pissed, and all the other guys are starting to get pissed and saying that he was stealing Charity away. Right? First of all, he knew what he was supposed to do. She chose him. Cool. You're mad because he's got a chiseled jaw, or they call it a butt chin later on. But but then here's the thing: they all get back to the house, right? And they're all sitting there. Charity comes in, and what's the first thing that Sean does? He's like, "I want another kiss." Hey, you got a second? Let's go. And he takes her off again, and now they're mad all over again. And I'm like, why? This is not friendship. This is not friend house. This is you're battling for her heart. You're trying to get her attention. What are you doing? Just sitting there doing nothing. You already know what she responds to. She's shown you this over the first 2 episodes. Why are y'all mad?
100% agree, and I don't say that often, but I agree. Like, these dudes are just being salty and shady. You know, you got Aaron that's like, dude, are you an only child? Have a slice of humble pie and act like you've been there before. Well, Aaron, you haven't been there before because she hasn't kissed you at all. So just deal with that.
She don't even know your name.
All these dudes hating, and I'm like, this is a competition.
Exactly.
We are not here to be friends.
Right.
This is a competition. If I'm on this show, my goal is I don't want to get some good Facebook buddies after this, and we can go hang out and play golf. I'm here to get Charity or whoever the Bachelorette is, but don't hate because you didn't step your game up. Exactly. And Sean saw a window of opportunity. He took it. And then when she walks up, he's like, yeah, I'm ready for another one of those. I like that. I like one of the milk dud kisses I just got. I've never had one of those before.
Not the milk dud kisses.
Yeah. Is this what coffee tastes like when it's in my cream? This is so good. Sean wanted a little bit more. I don't blame him. I'm like, Sean, he did it right. These dudes are just being haters.
They're definitely being haters, man. Because like you said, not there to make friends. Hey, like I say on the job all the time, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it, right?
Yeah.
Now, she did give other guys a chance. And tell me if you noticed this. As she's sitting with all these other guys, she looked bored and sleepy to me when they were talking. And I should just write, shut up and kiss me. Because it seems like that's all she wants to do is just kiss.
Honestly, I'm glad you called that out because I feel like she's that way with all of her conversations. As these guys are talking and they're trying to pour their hearts out, she's like, yeah, 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 You want, like she's just so
see these
focused.
full lips?
Yeah, you don't see this. Hey, I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna put some chapstick on. Like she's just ready for the kiss. And so these guys are trying to connect with her. And this is what dudes do because they're trying to, I feel like this is where you're trying to tell her what she wants to hear.
Right.
To see if this gets you points. So you had John, I play the guitar in my church worship team. Yeah. That's a panty dropper. Like anytime I've ever lied and said I play an instrument in the worship team, that's what the women want to hear.
That's not what she wants to hear. She's not talking.
Exactly. Exactly. She don't care about any of that. But I mean, I'm just thinking like, John, do you really think that works? I'm just saying. And then now my man Dothan got taken to the room.
Yo, now here's the thing about this, right? She takes him to the room and then he goes into this great acceptance speech because he made it to the room. I'm just like, dude, shut up. All she wants is for you to kiss her, snatch her ass up off that couch. This is what she wants. And he's there, and such and such, and such and such, and such. And she's looking at him like, shut up and take me.
You are so beautiful to me. No, that's great. Can you just kiss me? No. Can't you see? Like he just wants to keep going. And I was like, dude, she just wants to make out with you because she hasn't had a chance to really have a good makeout sesh. And she brought you away from where everyone else is at. This is your time to kick it up a notch and show the physical. And I know that's not what most guys would do in the conventional dating world, but that's what she wanted. And so I'm honestly, I didn't think Dothan had a shot. And then even when he was sitting there just talking way too much and she's doing that Charity like,
I thought he was about to talk himself out the drawers.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, we've all talked ourselves out of the drawers at one point or another.
Guilty. At more than one point. There's many stories I could tell and be like, and then I said this.
Now, Donna say, and I've seen this online as well too, right? That's who she'll be with at the end of the show. A lot of people saying, here's why, or here are the hints they're showing that Dothan is the guy, right? But, finally he does get his kisses in there because, he finally stepped up enough and shut up long enough so that she could get her kiss. And like C. Graham says, I feel like kissing is in their contract because they're always kissing on this show. Well, I've never watched the show before. I watched The Bachelor once, and first and last time. Well, twice. First and last time. And I watched The Bachelorette twice. First and last time, and this is it too. And I will say, she is kissing everybody.
Hey, I don't fault her. Again, I'm sex positive. Charity, you kiss everybody if you want to.
Hey, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to get to that prince.
Kiss all of them. Camera guy, the key grip, whoever you want. Kiss anybody you want to. You do you, because no one would judge a man for doing it. So I have no issue with that. But again, I don't know if Dothan's the guy after watching this whole thing. But
he got the group date role.
Mm-hmm. He did. Like he did a good job. And then there was Warwick.
I've seen some bad dates on TV before.
I've had bad dates, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can relate to this, not because I was Warwick, but I've been out with a female version of Warwick a few times.
Yeah,
and not the same person, but different times. I'm like,
damn, did you learn after the first time?
Oh no, I'm just saying I've been out with a female version of Warwick's where it is terrible, and I felt bad for her because she's like trying, and there was just nothing there at all. And I don't even understand why he's here. What did he even come out here for?
So here's the thing about this. Because when he got selected, a lot of the guys were like, wait, what? How? And then it was like, well, one person said, well, he's been quiet this whole time. And sometimes the quiet guy is the one that gets noticed. Well, you're right. Because if you're in a room full of noisy people, and, that's sometimes has been the game. You be the quiet one. You be the one that's not pressing, pushing up, throwing all them cheesy ass lines out, and you be the quiet one. But the thing is, when you get that one-on-one time, you've got to put in the work then. You can't be quiet then because there's nobody else taking all that off. They started off well, screaming on the roller coaster, having fun in the amusement park. Even though they dressed up and went to the amusement park, they had fun. And then Warwick went into Warwick mode.
It's the most terrible, awkward. Just sitting there, just quiet. Man, that roller coaster was crazy, huh? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yo, here's the thing about it. He couldn't make conversation. He couldn't make a decision when she's like, well, what kind of ice cream do you want? And then he couldn't even make her ice cream cone. He didn't even scoop it for her. And you saw her just getting, like, she's there struggling in that fake fur, whatever jacket she was wearing, trying to scoop that ice cream out. And he was just like, well, which one do I want? It's like, dude, do something. And this is when you realize that some people just don't have it.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. He has zero game, and not every guy has game. So this is not a slight to Warwick. It's just he has no game. Yeah. He has to find a woman that likes a guy with no game.
Mm-hmm. Well, he thought the date was going good. That's the problem. He also has no sense of reality because he thought the date was, this is going good. And then he didn't get the rose.
And then he was ready to go to sleep. He's like, good, thank goodness. Ugh. Woo! I mean, he looked like, when he got in the car, he looked like a woman who took her bra off after a 10-hour trip. He was just like, woo! Thank goodness. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
And then he did, literally.
Yeah.
This is like, Warwick. So the next day, Brayden is saying, the same thing that we've heard before. He doesn't think he can get engaged after this experience. He feels he could date, but he could date her, but he doesn't think he could really get engaged to her. I'm like, First of all, you already know what happened the last time you opened your mouth around these guys. Why are you doing it again? Why?
Because that's youth. He's 24.
Okay,
that's what cocky 24-year-olds do, because I knew you when you were 24.
Mm-hmm.
And
what?
All I'm saying is that you had, past tense, you had Brayden-esque qualities when you were 24, just like I did. So I'm like, I get it, but he's 24. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have said a word around those dudes. But yet, I tend to agree with Brayden on this. After Aaron tried to pull a Gil and spill the tea.
Aaron turned into Adrian, turned to Aaron, and Gil turned to Adrian. Adrian turned to Aaron, and here we are now. He becomes a tattletale, the snitch.
Yeah. So after he spilled the tea, but I agree with Brayden. It's like Charity. This is week 3.
Yeah.
And I've been on 2 or 3 dates with you. I can't say I'm going to marry you right now. I haven't even met your family. I'm still into the process. But do you realize I watched you make out with a whole bunch of dudes that I'm staying with? And you think I'm going to watch all that and be like, I'm ready to marry her. That's bae right there.
I mean, after 3 weeks, 3 weeks is a long time if you spend enough time with somebody and like, you know what? This is somebody I can see myself spending the rest of my life with.
If you spend 3 weeks with only that one person, like that one Netflix episode, The Longest Third Date, where they were stuck. Okay, that I could see. But 3 weeks and I'm watching you mug down with 3 or 4 of the dudes that I share a room with? No.
I mean, that it's a little different. It's a little different. So I can't believe we're actually agreeing with Brayden, but Brayden was also right when he confronted Aaron and was like, yo, what you did wasn't cool. Why would you tell her this, right? And then Xavier even jumped in and was like, yo, man, Aaron, what you did wasn't cool. And this is Aaron B, the black Aaron, and because you just cut into everybody else's time. You saw what happened the last time at the barbecue when somebody tattled what happened. She got flustered and left us. And so people were left out. And this is what happened again.
It did. And here's my thought. If your goal and your game plan or your strategy is, I'm going to call out what these other dudes are doing because you're going to want to believe in me and you're going to like me over them, to me is a bad strategy.
Bad.
You should just focus on your connection with her, regardless what she thinks. Like, you got to go. I feel like you got to go into this process saying, you know what? If she chooses me, great. If she doesn't, great. But I'm going to focus on trying to connect with her. I'm not going to come at her telling her, spilling tea from what I'm hearing of other dudes, because if you're with me, I don't want to have conversations with you to where you're thinking about another guy. I want you to be thinking about me. So I'm like, Aaron, focus on yourself.
Here's the thing. This is the Bachelorette where she's looking for her fiance. It's not the Bachelorette looking for their gay best friend, because that's what you're coming off as such a tattletale. Stop it. Because that's what she's like, you know what? You're really looking out for me. You're my BFF.
It's like Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost. Charity, you in danger, girl.
Well, regardless of what Aaron did, the rose ceremony happens. Brayden keeps his rose. Aaron stays as well. But tattletale number 1, Adrian, gets sent packing.
Yeah, because there was no connection. She had no date with him. She didn't make out with him.
Yeah.
Why would
he spent his date talking about somebody else every time?
Exactly. She got the tea. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I wish you well in all your future endeavors. She sent Adrian home.
Not the future endeavors email.
Yeah.
Well, that was episode 3. We get to episode 4 where they travel to Stevenson, Washington. And first thing I think is, man, I've never said to myself I want to go to Washington until they started showing the scenery. I'm like, damn, that looks good.
I used to travel to Washington a lot, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Traffic is terrible, but it is a beautiful state. There's a lot of great things to see, especially, I know you don't like hiking, but there's a lot of great hiking out there in Washington. It's gorgeous. So I was excited about...
I have nothing against hiking. It's just not on my list of, hey, you know what are you going to do today?
I didn't say you hated hiking. I just said I know that's not your thing. I didn't say like you were traumatized, or if hiking was a man, you'd punch him in the face. I didn't say anything like that. I just said hiking's not your thing.
It's not.
So don't get defensive because it's not your thing. You got really defensive right there. Can I give you some feedback?
Is this his future endeavors conversation?
Yeah, that's my HR conversation. Can I give you some feedback, Yanni? You're being really defensive right now.
You know who wasn't being defensive? Dothan.
No, Dothan got the one-on-one date. Mm-hmm. And again, props to Charity for I'm driving this Jeep. You get your tall, lanky self in the passenger seat.
Fold your legs up on that passenger side.
Yeah. You put your seatbelt on and get in the passenger seat. I got this. I'm driving. I love that. And they're doing a bungee jumping date, which I've never bungee jumped and I want to. You know, those that have been following us for a while, you know that Yanni and I went skydiving back in 2022, I believe. So 2022 we went skydiving. That was my second time, Yanni's first. I love stuff like this. So I was curious to see how this date was going to go.
You know, as they talked about the bridge, and it's the highest bridge and blah, 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 blah. And as they started walking out on the bridge, I'm like, that's where this date would have ended. I mean, the bungee jumping, I'm like, all right, maybe just I got to man up. But once you get out and they start walking out on that bridge and there's no real railings, there's no real side. You can see straight through, straight off. I'm like, that's when my acrophobia would have kicked in. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Look, Charity, I wish you the best on your future endeavors.
Well, I agree because when we went skydiving, you have your tandem partner. And when they go, you go. There's nothing you can do about that. You're going. Now, what made me nervous about this is not only putting on the gear, I'd be nervous about that. But when they had to step on the platform and then they tell you, hey, walk back a couple steps and I can't see where I'm walking. And then the moment I look down, I'd be like, nah, son, I don't know if I could do this. But you're on a date. So you're trying to like impress the person. That would have been hard. But I'm looking at Charity like this was your idea. You were bought into this. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
Why are you emotional about this? This was your idea to do this date.
Was it really her idea though? And Donna, you're right. Look, I'm afraid of heights, right? Terrell, his fear would have kicked in when he's on that little platform. Like I said, I would have never made it to the platform. They needed some railings, some concrete on the side of that bridge, and I would have made it to the platform. At least fool me a little bit. There's no way I would have walked out on that bridge. I would barely drive over that bridge, okay?
I get it. I mean, it wouldn't be easy for me, but I love it. And to Karen's point, they did it twice.
Yes.
And that's what I loved about it because when you and I went skydiving, if we could go right back up,
we would have done it.
Landed,
yeah.
You would have been all in because it was that amazing. So I want to do it. I say you and I, we need to plan 2024. We're going to go to Washington. We're going to meet up. We're going to do some other things in Washington, but we're going to jump off that bridge. What do you say?
That bridge, I already told you. I'm not making it out.
Virtual pinky swear.
I'm not making it out on that bridge. I've already told you. There's no way unless you blindfold me and walk me out there. There's no way I'm walking out on that bridge.
Well,
I know me.
Not with that attitude. No, you're not. But I'm saying stop failing before you even try. You've already given up.
You have to know your limitations, okay?
So you wouldn't do it?
Not on that bridge.
What if I triple dog dared you? It's a triple dog dare. There's rules. There's code.
I'll call my wife.
She can do it with us. We could do a thruple jump. Like the three of us tied up, we jump together. I can bring my girlfriend. We can do four of us. We could all four jump. How dope would that be? How much bonding would that be? Don't say no right now. Just
that's
instead of a fast.
I like that idea.
Give me a slow yes.
Let's do it.
Take your time. Think about it.
We'll sit down there and watch y'all jump.
I don't think she would do it. So it'd be y'all would just watch me do it.
That's pretty much what it'll be. Well, after they got through with their bungee jumping, doing it twice, they have the campfire with the s'mores. And I know this part probably irks you because Dothan told his immigration story. It means a lot to him. Come on, man. You see, you were born in this country. This meant a lot to him to come to this country, the opportunity that was there. It meant a lot to him. And he's sharing from the heart the stuff that's important to him with her.
Here's why I want to shut this shit down. I appreciate the immigrant story. But like you and also like Dothan, y'all didn't grow up picking cotton out in some parts of Africa or whatever, and then you came to the United States. Stop it. it's different. It's not like he left trying to
Like,
survive.
he did come from Africa, but go ahead.
Oh, I get it. But it's not like he came from Africa because 1,000 white men were looking for him and his family to kill him, and he made it to the U.S. and made a name for himself.
They just hid.
It's just,
but go ahead.
Stop it. Just, okay, great, you got here. Let's move on. Okay, you're an immigrant. I was born in Germany. I don't brag about that shit. And even though it was on a military base, so I'm still an American citizen, I don't start my conversation, well, I was born in Germany.
Well, look,
It's only a year. It doesn't mean anything.
He's sharing his story with her.
Stop it.
His motivation. Because when they came here, he said they struggled. And that's his motive. He's just sharing more with her. Why are you such a hater?
I'm not a hater. All I'm saying is, in a dating situation, I don't see how that wins you points.
It did.
Because
she cried.
No. She cries for other things too, as we watched. It's not that big a deal. But I just don't see that wins you points. Just say, be confident in who you are. You're here. You've done some great things, but focus on where you are today. Because the fact that you were born outside of the U.S. and you came here and you have your ID card, that can't be something that someone's going to fall back to when they're questioning your relationship. She's not going to be like, this is a week I'm not sure about Dothan, but then again, he's an immigrant.
Well, look, he's got to keep bringing that up and reminding her where he's from. So that when after they get married and he says, all right, now we need my second and third wife, she understands. Like, I told you from the get-go.
I'm just waiting for him to do that color purple. They get together and be like, me and you will Maki. Let it go, Dothan. Great, you're an immigrant. We understand. But move forward and bring some other stuff to the table that you're going to talk about. And I'm sure he probably did, because again, producers only show us little things. But I just don't like that story. I don't think that makes Dothan any better or different than any other guys. The fact that he's an immigrant, but he just keeps like saying it. That just bothers me about it. I'm not anti-immigrants. I'm not trying to be pro-America.
You're sounding very Trumpish right now, but go ahead.
But let's talk about Dothan's emails. So give him the Hillary treatment, but his emails. Let's talk about that.
So he gets this wonderful date. They ended in the hot tub. Wonderful. He gets the rose. Great, right? I like the conversation between them, and they shared a lot. They, between the two of them, shared some tears, shared some kisses. And Melissa says, like, you're trying to convince him to have sex, though.
I'm not saying I'm trying to convince him to have sex. All I'm saying is stop bringing out that story. Tell another story, which he did, right? Because and I don't think that Charity was like won over because of the immigrant story. I think Charity was won over because Dothan compliments her and tells her why he really likes her. And she's not used to that, because I think sometimes when you have, I think when you have pretty privilege, most people are like, you're so gorgeous, you're so this, you're so that. So she's used to that. And Dothan, I'm sure, knows that. So what he's saying is like, look, this is how being around you makes me feel. This is what it's like, the way you invited me up to the room to have that one-on-one time. Here's how it made me feel. And I think that's what worked. I don't think that she was on the fence, but he showed her his ID card, his alien card, and she's like, you know what? He is kind of cute.
Hey, that's what got him. That resident alien card is what got him up in the room. But you're right. I just find it sad that that's the first time she's heard somebody say that to her. I think that's sad, and it's not on her. It's on the guys that she dated before. In that sense, I mean, the fact that they're just stuck on one thing and not, So
it is sad, but the common denominator of her on all her relationships is her. She chooses these dudes who focus on how beautiful she is. So, what you get?
So we get to the group date.
Cheers.
And she tells the guys, meet me in the woods. And it's a wilderness survival with the Girl Scouts from
hell.
Oh, hell.
Maybe in the middle. So I had this thought when I'm watching this, it just finally dawned on me, because I don't really pay attention to these little details. But because I was like 3 hours in at this point when this came up, they have to have wardrobe people for the guys. Because you can't tell me that you can plan to pack all these outfits
Yeah.
and the way they look, because you just never know what you're gonna get into. So you just prepare for everything. I can't imagine they packed that much stuff. I couldn't even think of what to go buy. If I had to buy a wardrobe to be on The Bachelor
Mhm.
or The Bachelorette, I wouldn't even know what to buy. So I thought that was interesting watching the guys come out. I'm like, how do they know to bring that shit?
Yeah. Well, they have their sizes, so they just those are probably all sponsored. If you read the credits at the end, which we never do, then you would see who's providing the wardrobe. Right? That's why they all
True.
had flannel and all this stuff. It's all there. It's like promotional consideration paid for by when you watch The Prices Right. That's all the things they give away. They didn't pay for that
Yeah.
shit. It's all done free, right? Well, they get out there. The guys have to go find food. Brayden said, and tell me if you caught this, that he ate some mushrooms. Was he high? As he's eating all the other stuff raw?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. I don't think he was eating those type of mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Brayden was just being extra because I think that's what Brayden does.
Right.
Like my take on Brayden is you came on this show, like we wouldn't be surprised if there was some other show that Brayden was on.
Right.
Like we've seen in other reality shows. And so I'm like, maybe this is what his gimmick is. Because he's 24. He can ride the reality show circuit for 5 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends. Go to Ready for Love at 30, 31.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? So
That would be funny.
yeah, so I mean, I feel like he's just being extra,
Mhm.
but I don't think that he was on those kind of mushrooms.
Okay, just making sure. Well, Aaron B wins the Scout Challenge, and he gets to spend time under the kissing tree. And of course, the other guys are still mad because they just get mad every time they don't win. I mean, what is up with these guys? What is up with these sore losers?
That's just it. Sore losers.
Because then they're back at the house after that, right? And they're having this heated discussion with Brayden, and Charity walks in on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "All right, what are we talking about?" Because it sure shut up really quick when she walked in, and it felt like everybody was scared to say what it was. And then so she goes for a walk with Brayden, and they talk, and the moment that we knew was going to happen happened.
Okay, but before we get to that moment, I have to applaud the producers of how they try to sell reality TV like it's real. So imagine that a group of guys, we're all in a room debating over this girl,
Mhm.
and there's cameras on us.
Mhm.
Then at some point, the cameras all do this. I'm trying to. At some point, the cameras all move to capture Charity coming into the house, and they're waiting for that moment. Like you would know something's about to happen. So I thought that was the most hilarious thing about that whole exchange is that y'all knew this was coming. So stop it.
You've got to kick logic out when you watch reality TV, okay?
It's hard for me. It's hard for me. So there was that, but that whole deal when Charity pulled him aside and wanted to have a conversation, he really acts like a child during difficult conversations,
Mhm.
that adults would have. And just the way he handled himself, I was just like, ugh. And I'm glad that Charity picked up on it
Mhm.
and she made the decision that she did. But I did make a note to say that, okay, Brayden's leaving, but I'm sure the producers will find a way to bring him back.
Mm.
Teaser.
Interesting. Because one of the things I did notice that she said this time though was the thing I said earlier when I said he was playing, playing victim. She said it this time, like he's playing the victim, not taking responsibility, right? Well, she walks him out. Then Xavier gets that second one-on-one date. They go to a fruit festival. The one thought I have about this fruit festival, I know you think I'm probably just like hating on a fruit festival because it's fruit festival.
Because you don't like fruit?
Yeah, exactly. I like fruit juice. But the bobbing for apples, I've never understood this. I've never understood this game. Do they play the balls every time? Because I hope they use fresh water every time somebody else goes bobbing. Because Xavier damn sure was spitting in the apple. I was like, what about the person who goes behind him?
I have no idea because I'm not a bobbing for apples connoisseur. so I can't really speak on what the traditions of bobbing for apples is.
Mm-hmm.
I do think maybe on this show, this was just their 2 buckets,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Right.
There wasn't people; they weren't going in line and going behind people.
Right.
I
For
don't
them,
know.
yes, but I'm just talking in general because I
In
don't understand
general,
this. I don't understand
so-
this bobbing for apples crap. That's an
I
American.
agree with you. I did it when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all kids. We did a whole lot of stuff that would be deemed as gross.
Right.
That we did it in our elementary school days. So I remember bobbing for apples, and you have other people come behind you. Yeah, it was disgusting, but that's just what we did.
That's I was grossed out just seeing him spit back in there. I was like, ugh, because that's the first thing that went in my mind. Like, so what about the person who comes in behind him? All right, never mind. Let's get out. Keep watching the show, Yanni.
Yeah, no, it's gross. But also think about like when you go to the wineries where you can like step in the buckets and step on grapes.
Yeah,
and all that. If I were to see that in person, I'm not buying a bottle. I'm not buying a bottle. I would take a sip and be like, is this Yanni? Was Yanni in this bucket? Ugh, this is gross. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't need to. Sometimes you don't always want to know how the sausage is made. You just want the sausage. Watching them jump in those buckets, I'm like, God, I don't like red wine now. I still do. That's what I'm drinking tonight. But it's just, if I saw people, if I wouldn't be at a winery watching people do that, I would not buy a bottle. I don't even want to taste it because I know somebody's feet has been in that. No,
at least it's not just me. And yes, Tony, it was indeed disgusting.
Yeah.
Ugh. In the words of Pusha T, yuck. Well, they go for the second part of their one-on-one, which is dinner, and Charity tells us that Xavier reminds her of her ex, and she's seen some of the qualities that she has run from, and that has her questioning his loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
What did she see?
I don't know, but when she said that, so when they started their date, I'm just looking at Xavier. I'm just like, something slick about this dude. Because again, don't always trust dudes who are attractive that make scarves. Just red flag. Doesn't say it's a bad thing. Just kind of like, hey, be mindful.
The knitting threw you off. I got you.
Yeah. I was just like, but there's something about Xavier where I could see it. But regardless of Xavier, because I don't think it's his issue, it's more Charity's, is that there's something about his mannerisms, the way he carries himself, that this is probably the ideal guy that she's gone after, but she's been burned by. Mm-hmm. And so she's wondering, if I give this dude a chance and let the walls down, is he going to hurt me like the other ones did? And I personally want to believe Xavier's not going to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like, I've never come across the player guy that's into science and also knits scarves. Right. You know what I mean? I just haven't seen it. It'd be one thing if he was, I'm a quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, third string, or I'm in the Canadian leagues, I'm a starter. It's not an athlete. It's not an entertainer. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible.
It could be into old white women.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but all I'm saying is that I don't know, but I think there were some red flags that came up, and I'm glad that they dug into that conversation because she's starting to think that he looks like a cheater because he reminds of her ex. But now here's what's interesting is how he combated that conversation, which to me is also a red flag to look out for. I wouldn't do this to you because understand what happened with my mom and my dad and this. And now I tell you a little story, which is what a con man would do. Is I'm going to give you a little something personal to get you in, and then I'm going to take all the money out your purse. I'm not saying Xavier's going to do that. All I'm saying is that's a slick move to say, hey, let me be a little bit vulnerable and share this one thing that's surface level that I've told a lot of people, but I'm going to tell it to you like this is me opening up to make you feel like I'm trustworthy. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this one.
Well, you want guys to open up. He opened up. He did because she decided to start diving into past relationships. That was her way of doing this, right? Finding out, all right, are these really red flags? Are they orange? Or are they just like, maybe it's the way the light is hitting these flags why they look red. And the question I have to ask you this is like, how much do past relationships really factor into your current relationship?
Okay, that's a really good question because I feel like there's some caveats to that.
Mm-hmm.
When you say past relationships, how far?
Mm-hmm.
Is it your most recent relationship or is it a relationship we had in our 20s? If it's a relationship we had in our 20s, then you and I should be single forever
Mm-hmm.
because we messed up in our
Mm-hmm.
20s because we were young and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends if there's like a common theme in your dating history. So it depends. I think you got to like hear someone's dating history,
Yeah.
but also take it with a grain of salt at the same time. Unless they're consistently saying, in 2015, I met this amazing woman. She was great. She cheated on me. 2017, I met this amazing woman. I thought she was the one. She cheated on me. 2020, I met the one. She's amazing. She cheated on me. Like, I'm hearing too many of the same trend. Common denominator is you. There's a problem.
And there's a limit to how much you get into past relationships, right? I mean, and the thing is, you don't want to hear too much about the past, but you don't want to ignore the things from the past at the same time, right?
True.
And
True.
So there's a delicate balance there when you're thinking of relationships and how do they factor into what that person is today. And you can't ask people to grow and then judge them on things that happened 10 years ago. 50, in our age group now, 15, 20 years ago. You can't do that, right? Because then are you the same person you were 20 years ago? No. So you got to allow people that time to grow and let them show you what they are in this space, because things happen in all of our lives that make us change along the way, right? Now, here's what happened. And in that same line, things happened and I wasn't able to finish the episode after this part of the show. So what happened?
So let me spill the tea. So have the one-on-one date with Xavier. Now remember, Brayden's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now all the guys are all dressed to the nines, ready for the cocktail party. Lo and behold, who shows up? Brayden. Wow. In his white long sleeve t-shirt with the scarf.
Mm-hmm.
He walks into the house and the guys are like, "What the hell?" Doesn't acknowledge him. Just walks past them like they aren't even there.
They're all haters anyway, but go ahead.
Exactly. Then there he goes. He's looking for Charity. He finds Charity sitting in a room making out with John.
Of course she was.
I have no idea. I have no issue with her making out with John. Let me just preface that. No issue with that. She's making out with John. They stop kissing finally because he just stands there. He's just watching, which is super creepy. But he's just standing there just watching. Finally, they stop kissing, and John's like, "Oh," and so then John steps out. Yeah, John steps out, and so here's what I thought was going to happen. I thought Brayden was coming back to say, "Hey, I've thought about it. Mm-hmm. Being away from you this time, I can't do it. I'm all in, and if I had to marry you tomorrow, I would do it because of how I felt after this." I was expecting something along those lines. Brayden came to come back and let her know, "Hey, Charity, it's not your fault. You're good. You're a good person." And Charity's just like, "Yeah, I know. It's not my fault. Yeah, I did nothing wrong." And I was like, "Why did you come back to say this? What's the point?" So they have a little bit of a dialogue exchange. And then Brayden leaves. And of course, Charity's distraught because like, where the hell did this come from? So Brayden walks past the guys. The guys are pissed. And now you have Aaron just like, "No, yo, you ain't a man." Like they're ready to talk some shit. And Brayden's just trying to blow them off. Like, "I'm not here for y'all. I'm here for her." Whatever. It's not till he gets in the van, which is a punk move. This is how I knew Brayden is weak sauce. He gets in the van and all the producers and cameras around. Now all of a sudden he's ready to get froggy.
Of course.
And wants to talk some, what's up? Well, I'll whoop y'all's head. You weren't saying that when you were in the living room, having to walk past these dudes that you thought you could whoop them, all of them. He didn't. So that's what happened with that. Now, here's the other thing that was funny about that situation. Brayden comes in wearing his long sleeve t-shirt and scarf. Sean makes a comment when he's doing an interview with the producers, and he's making fun of Brayden's scarf and all that. And the producer asks, "What's the difference between your scarf and Brayden's?" And Sean looks down and he goes, "This is cashmere." That is exactly what Ken would say. That was a perfect Ken and Barbie response. I was like, way to stay in character, Sean.
Here's what you forget about Sean. Sean is a tennis pro.
No, that's Joey. That's the tennis pro.
Is it Joey who's a tennis pro?
Yeah, Sean is
Okay.
the one with the butt chin.
Yeah.
You're talking about Joey's the tennis pro.
Okay, I thought it was Sean.
I can't remember. I had to look at previous notes, see what Sean did. But Sean was the one that won the Barbie
Well,
deal.
keep telling the story, and I'll tell you whether he is or not.
Okay, so after that, Brayden's in the car, and they're like giving him, a hard time, telling him to get out of here and all this other stuff. So bunch of BS back and forth. So then, obviously, Charity needs a moment to gather herself. The guys are talking. They're upset, saying how rude it was for Brayden to take away time from the other guys. And like, there's these other guys that need to spend time with Charity, and it messes this up. And I'm like, going back to our original point earlier, this is a contest.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have more time with other people. For me, if I'm vibing with you and I already have a rose, I'm just sitting there watch it burn. I'm like, yes.
Right.
Fanning the flames of the fire. Yes. Let's do this. Blow this whole thing up. So after that whole part, then they wind up doing the rose ceremony. Charity comes back, does the rose ceremony. Now, I will give this show credit that they're eliminating people a lot faster.
Yes.
But the people that got eliminated, so Caleb, Mr. Wrestler, gets eliminated, and he's
really?
crying.
Oh,
yeah. So he's crying. I'm like, Caleb, you didn't have any one-on-one time.
Right.
She didn't kiss you, at least not on TV. If it did, why are you so emotional? But the biggest issue I have with how episode 4 ended is you're sitting there making out with John. Brayden comes in and interrupts, and John still doesn't get a rose after that. Like, was it the kiss? Yeah, she's making out with John, and then Brayden comes, breaks the whole thing up, all the drama happens, the rose ceremony happens. Guess who doesn't get a rose? John. Could you imagine someone making out with you? That's like being on a date, making out. Hey, and then at the end, I had a really great time. I think we should see other people.
Well, maybe he just wasn't up to par.
But this was her third makeout sesh. So if you can't tell me the first two weren't good, how bad was the third? Did he eat onions? Did he have garlic in his pasta? And you're just like, I can't do.
And this was John B, right? The Asian guy.
Yeah. Asian American who had the Barbie, the Ken skin doll, if you will, who had that on. So he gets voted off. So then, of course, at the end, what's his name says, "Hey guys, you can get a rose. Say your goodbyes." The other thing that tripped me out, guess who's breaking down crying over the whole goodbyes? Xavier. Xavier is like an emotional mess.
Did he get eliminated?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he's just crying. Like, I'm like, Xavier, why are you crying?
Well, Ann says all that time that those guys spent following Brayden out to the van, they could have been in there talking to Charity and working on getting a rose. See, that's when you let everybody go, let their emotions, they walk out there, do that I am man, go out there, and that's when somebody like me would have been like, hey, Charity, everything okay?
This is why I couldn't be on this show. I'd be like, this is bullshit. Y'all gonna let him get away with that? And the guy's like, yeah, damn right, Terrell. We're not gonna let him get away with that. And they go outside. I'm gonna go find Charity. Be like, exactly. Hey, baby girl.
Yeah.
You okay? Come here. It's all good. Just rock her. It's all good. It's okay. I would totally do that. I would get them amped, have them take off, and then I'm gonna go comfort Charity.
Don't go right, because again, this is not friendship. This is the Bachelorette. You're fighting for her heart. Y'all 100%. Think y'all coming there to make friends? Nah, that's not what it's about.
100%. Yeah. So it was an interesting show, and I'm glad that we're back on our regular schedule because now I don't have to watch 2 episodes back to back.
Yep.
I can watch just one. And do we want to tell everybody kind of what our plan is going forward with when we go live for the show?
Not yet, but
Got
next Tuesday we'll do. We'll be back next Tuesday to go live because show comes out Monday. We'll come back out on Tuesday. Give you a chance to watch it, and perfect time. So, and
Got it.
I will say this though. Melissa says, by the way, it was weird there was no Married at First Sight yesterday. Yes, because it's taken up the last 3 years of our life. For one season. So I totally agree, Melissa. It was kind of weird not having Married at First Sight and all the unnecessary episodes they gave us this season.
Melissa, see, that's Stockholm Syndrome. Girl, use free. Use free. Run.
You see, because you said that, I'm actually gonna put up her other comment. Are we drinking bourbon, Taro?
No, I'm just drinking red wine. Yeah,
And,
I'm just drinking red wine. I'm just happy. I'm in a good space. Melissa. That's all it is.
TR said, I literally had to stop watching because I couldn't take the sound of her kissing. Those mics are very loud that pick them up kissing. It is a lot. But you know what? Look, here's the difference. I will say this. It is good to see on a dating show somebody kissing that actually has lips.
Well, also, I would say, compared to Matt James, at least her eyes are closed every time she kisses him.
At least she's into all the kisses.
Yeah. Her eyes are closed compared to Matt James. He was just eyes wide open. Yeah.
Well, look, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Regular episodes resume next week as well. And of course, again, we'll be back here for one episode. This is the first time we'll actually cover one episode next week. And we'll be doing it every week after that. And I don't know how long this one's going to go because they say this is a short season. But I'm sure by the time this is done, Married at First Sight will be back because, they're probably starting another 42-week season.
Yeah, they're knocking people out at this one. So I think that's good. But based on the previews, we have a surprise coming.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like that's going to be an addition. Mm-hmm. Because they did the same thing with Matt James in his season. I'm sure they do this regularly, but I remember this from Matt James' season. They brought somebody in at the 11th hour. So let's just see what happens.
Now, Ann has a great question. Who do you guys think will be her top 4? Should be going to their hometowns? I'll be better prepared to answer that question next week. But if I had to pick right now, even just picking 2 out of that, let's just create a 4 between us. Next week we'll give out our own top 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Dothan because people are already saying that he's the guy. Mm-hmm. So that's one of our 4.
Yep. I would say Dothan. I would say Xavier.
So Xavier, stop calling that man Xavier before he comes in.
I said Xavier.
You said Xavier, but you need to be careful.
Whatever.
He's got his knitting weapons. his knitting nunchucks.
Well, tell him to knit me a dictionary so I can learn how to say things right. My bad.
I'm gonna say Joey.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we got Dothan, Xavier, Joey. Who's the 4th we're picking as a combined 4?
I really, it's hard for me to answer that right now because I feel like it's going to be between 2 people. One of those being Aaron, and one being Tanner.
See, so you don't think it's going to be Sean?
No.
Wow, that would have been my 4th. So okay, so but then once I forgot about Aaron. See, this is why I need the time to actually think about this for a minute, because I'll be honest, it was like speed reading. It was like speed dating for me on these 2 episodes because playing catch up. Look, the landscaping crew messed up my internet and cut my wires. Otherwise, we'd have been on yesterday instead of today. So I was speeding through everything today, and that's why I need time to just re-dive into it and see. I would have thought Sean though, but gonna pay attention. We'll see. So next week we'll give you our individual 4 that we think and see how close we are. Because when we did the Bachelor, we did this early on, who we thought was gonna be there, and so we're gonna do our mid-season prediction. Because I think with five episodes in, we'll be 5 episodes in next week, so we'll be at least midway through. So
yeah,
right.
we'll see. I'm curious.
All right. If you're watching still, hey, make sure you go ahead, hit that like button real quick.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you.
And if you're watching this after, drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, love to hear who you think. Who do you think is that she's going to wind up picking at the end of the day? So if you have your own prediction, and I don't want your top 4, I want your number 1. Who do you think? Because I want to go back to these comments like a few weeks from now and be like, okay, Melissa thought X. Karen thought X. So
Gerald doesn't want to read 4 names. He just wants to read 1. I got you.
I'm lazy.
Well, I'm Yanni Rude.
and I'm just Terrell. Whatever.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on a regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
Empty glasses up.